Yo, what up? All right, let's dive right into it. I was in longs today, and I'm already out now. I didn't get like any type of crazy top exit, but I caught a good chunk of this move, and I was only long. That's it this morning. I didn't flip back and forth. I know there's a lot of people that are getting torched trying to short then long, then short then long. I was very cleared. If you're in the chat with me, I did not stutter. I was like, I'm very long, and that's it. All I did was switch indices. I went from ES to NQ. I was initially long on ES, then I went to NQ. I'll talk about all of that. I'll start with a chart actually, and then we'll dive into the tape. So just, we're looking at charts for potential levels. That's how I usually do it. I use Fibonacci and standard deviation for levels, and then that is my kind of area of interest that I look for entries on the tape, and I look for the tape to essentially add confluence to what I'm thinking will happen. So overnight, we had Monday lows, and then Asia just was the high of the night overnight, and it just went lower from there and took out Monday lows, previous week lows. So I marked out this fib right here from Monday lows to Asia highs, just the most recent swing high, from there to there, and we got our TR pocket. If you know, you know. I talk about TR pocket all the time. I love it. So that was my initial entry, 7355. Because the TR, I won't always do this, but because the TR pocket right here, I'll just clear this up for you so you're not confused. Because the TR pocket, I have so much experience with it, and when it just lines up, when it starts to line up with everything and goes in the direction of what I'm thinking, when I'm able to build a lot of confluences and confidence around the trade, then I'll just set a limit. So I just set a limit there, and I was very happy initially. I was like, oh yeah, I sniped this. This is going to be one hell of a bottom tick kind of thing. But at the end of the day, we're here to make money. So I wasn't about to, go into the red after that. I did put my stops. I said after I saw these stacks and balances, I was like, I'm very long. I put my stops just below here. I said it in Discord, not on X, if you're wondering. But so I put my stops just below there. This was a huge imbalance, like 700 some lots to zero, with 173 and 157 stacked on top of each other, market orders. So I was looking for that to hold for sure. So when I saw this seller just rip into here, I just stopped myself in profit, and I was like, I'm just going to continue watching. I marked out this zone because so as we see it, so we come into the TR pocket down there, we break below Monday lows, previous week lows. I'm still looking longs, there's NQ's doing the same, but look, YM's nowhere near Monday lows. So that is a pretty thick, good sequential SMT. So pretty happy with that. Oh, I hate when this does that. So pretty happy with that as far as continued longs. And there's more reasons I'll get into. So initially that's what I was looking at. So hit those levels. These are key levels that it hit. They were sweeping major lows. And I'm looking for price to just continue and make new highs, just because, New York always sells the top. And we're not going to top without New York selling the top. Anyways, diving into the tape, we hit that zone. Look at this. Heavy. This is what we want to see in a reversal. Heavy selling. Or just in reversal, we want to see heavy one-sided volume, and then we want to start to see some divergences between delta and how price is finishing. So we see heavy selling. You see this, it's the middle row right here. That's the delta, so net negative or net positive sellers. Here we're net negative, so a lot more sells than buys coming into this level. We'd love to see it, and then we see a big divergence. We see on this, when we're still in the initial balance, so this is a good look, initial balance, first hour of New York Open. So this is a good look to see it already, or it's towards the end of initial balance, but I like seeing that. And then we see, we just see price finish in the green. So there's our first divergence with price and delta. So we see our first sign of a buyer there. And then this is even better. If you're trading just the initial balance, you see just a little spike below initial balance. That's when it hit that TR pocket. And then that was the low. Same thing again here. We see big sells coming in, no really divergence, but we just see such a strong flip in the delta. We go from big sells here, not as much volume wise is here. It was probably just a lot more aggressive market orders. So again, this is manipulation. Volume is actually a lot lower, and we're not able to close below these lows. So we're already seeing sellers are like, they look like they're toast. And then you see big buys step in. So and this, look, 2K in the green. That's a big flip on the delta. But sellers, it's choppy. So this is what I was getting annoyed at. Came in, stopped me in profit. I was a little pissed at that point because I was like, it's ridiculous. But it's still holding this zone, still holding this pivot. I never flipped. I wasn't like, oh, now I'm short kind of thing just because I got stopped in profit. I still was looking for longs. I was just looking on a stronger indice this time, which was NQ, because we're going to tech earnings tomorrow with NVIDIA. So I flipped over there. This is right when that happened, right when it took me out, I was like, screw this. If I'm going to go long, it's going to be with tech. Looks like it's going to be a little bit more directional. And yeah, same thing right at the end of that initial balance. We see the same thing. Yeah, divergence in the tape. So we have net huge. This is big volume for NQ, like 264 lots. That's ES size on NQ. So yeah, huge volume into the lows. We see a divergence, flips right there. So that's a good look initially, same thing. So I mark out this. This is my initial zone of interest. This is, if we reject, especially, for people that were short and were getting frustrated trying to, hold shorts for lowers, if sellers really had control there, then we would have come up, retested Monday lows and rejected and gone lower. Especially would have gone lower past previous week lows. Instead, reject Monday lows, start to hold previous week lows, and then we just chop, and then we're bouncing, and then we're moving higher, and that's not a good look for sells. So yeah, so we're just holding that area. We see a lot of buyers come in. We see Delta starting to flip on the tape, so CVD is flipping positive, and then we move up. So that when that happened, when it stopped me out on ES, that's here on NQ. And yeah, I was looking for, again, more proof. So same thing, see big sells. This, again, big sells on NQ. And look how price finishes. There's another divergence. So that's a good look. Then I see this small initiation out of there. We see a bit of a move up. So that's a good look. And then, yeah, I'm looking for a retest of this level. I don't really want to spend much time below here. So after that happened, I now was moving basically my zone of interest kind of to there. I was like, you know what? I really don't want to be below there, but I don't want to be below there. This was like hard stop. This was like, I'm watching the tape like a hawk, and buyers better prove me right. Sorry about that loud sound. That is. Oh yeah, so we're dipping back below. See, I'm happy I sold. So this makes sense. We break above. I'm not expecting a full-on trend day. Save that for Wednesday, Thursdays a lot of the time. But yeah, I am expecting this to, so we've likely created a low here, and then we're going to come up, retest some levels. Again, my initial stop was below 990, below true day open, but I saw ES couldn't even hold its true day open. So that was not a good look. Also, I marked the standard deviation on this manipulation out of lunch hour, which again, we view as a key time. So when I saw that reject off of the 3 standard deviation, which lined up with the Monday midpoint, which is also rejecting weekly open and true day open, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get out. So I didn't get out, up here. I was out more like once I saw proof, because it tried to come back up again. So I got out just above 29K. So I held from 745 or whatever to 29-ish K. So about 250 points, 3 micros. I'm chilling on stacked accounts. Yeah, don't worry about me. Yeah, so marked out that zone on NQ, came back, retested perfectly. I just wanted to be with this initiative buyer right there. What I viewed was initiative buyer for higher. So I wanted to be with him. Turned out to be a great entry, 745. Only had a couple micros, and then because I wanted more proof. After all this, I wanted, clearly the market is not in the mood of an immediate reject and initiate the other way in reverse. Clearly the market's gonna do, there's a big battle going on right here, and that's, I think people are, the misconception is, so choppy, the market's dead. No, there's a lot of volume getting traded here, back and forth. And so it was an all-out duel, but we want to be with institutions. And what are institutions right now? They're very net long. Look at this, S&P, TIF report. So we got dealers, asset managers, and institutional, and then leverage funds. institutional asset managers, that's who we want to be with. They're very net long right now. So eventually they will be, they're draggers. They basically, they don't catch, you'll see a change, obviously, lows and highs, but they go with the move. They follow the trend, and they follow the trend with a lot of money. So yeah, sure, this will eventually reverse, and it'll take a couple weeks for this to really start coming down and for them to change their position. But for now, they're very long, and dealers are just hedged on the other side, and leverage funds are usually just early to the party. They're trying to call the top and trying to be early. Institutions they're gonna, once the trend fully reverses, then they'll start to flip. But they're gonna wait for price. So yeah, so I wait for more confirmation. I added after this lunchbox model that I have here. I mark out the first 10 minutes before lunch hour and 10 minutes after lunch hour. I'm 2 hours behind, so that's why it shows as 9:50 to 10:10. So this is just me marking out the highs and lows. Don't care about the width of this box. It's just where's the high, where's the low. And yeah, basically, if I haven't seen any trend develop from the morning, if I haven't seen, so what I'd ignore that basically. If we just started coming down, reject Monday low and we continue down, we're trending lower, then I'm not too worried about this kind of lunch area. I would just look at it as more of a little pause and then continue trend. But because we haven't done anything, I'm looking for it now to confirm a reversal. So there's often just manipulation, news, lots of stuff happens during lunch. So I've noticed it as, if we don't get delivery from morning after lunch, that's usually when it happens. So I mark out that zone, and then I'll take just simply, if I'm already in a trade, which I was just holding long, and I would only get out if I saw it reject and go lower, which would have just taken me out of essentially break even. But I would also look for possible, break below, manipulate, and then continue higher. That would have just been annoying as hell, but wouldn't have surprised me. Or break above, retest, go higher, just break above, and then just continue higher like it did right here. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about any of that up there. I was already in the trade down there. So once I saw it break out and then like a really solid close above 900, I already liked that we were closing above 840, I think it was, 850s. Yeah, so I wanted to be closed well above 850s, 860s. So once I did that, I just added one more micro and just wrote it up. If you really want to be surgical with it, there's another way you could have sniped an entry on NQ. I always mark out previous range value areas. So I marked this out in this little balancing period before we initiated this leg higher. You can see we come back, retest the value area high pretty well, and then, make that another leg higher. Come back again. If we're really going to break below, we're going to break through this, probably grind, reject, and then dump out the other end. But in this case, look at this. POC right there, 677, took off, gone. Well, not right away, but that was it. That was your low. That was your bottom tick, basically. And that was like, again, right where you see that little capitulation from that seller right there. That was a good look. If you want to be long from there, if you want to take a little bit of risky business, I wasn't even looking at NQ at that time. So but when I saw that after, I was like, damn, that would have been good. So I expect this to come back, test some levels, and then essentially continue higher. Why am I looking higher? Number of reasons. Number one is, overall, I believe we're forming a top. So I believe that's happening. I mark out this macro TR pocket right here. So, macro-wise, I'm still looking for kind of overall, I'm looking for this to be a large manipulation higher to really get people thinking, retail especially, to get people thinking that this market only goes up no matter what's going on, no matter what war, no matter what financial conditions. That's the thing. There's that saying, the market... what is it? The market can continue in one direction longer than you can stay solvent. Something like that. At the end of the day, it's just, the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. That's it. So that's what I'm looking for right here. Basically just continuously people trying to top all the way up. I've been like 90% long. There was at one point I tried to right here, and it was a nice rejection, and then it just continued higher. And at that point I was like, okay, we're longing still. We're going up. We hit this part at the top here, and what I was looking for it to be wrong, because I always want to know how am I wrong, is I want to retest this top region of the TR pocket and then take off and then continue from there. And then after that, I'd look for some like crazy breakthrough in AI or, something with, I don't know, still might happen. We'll see. So yeah, from here, I'm still looking for new highs. I'm looking for this to hold and then, fill this gap, but essentially just, essentially just like come up here, retest and higher. And if we break, like that, then longs are good. But what I think is going to happen is it's going to look like we're going to break and, then just really rock it up. And then we're just going to get a classic limit down 10 a.m. New York sell day and just, I don't think it'll be like huge amount in one day, but you'll see a strong change for sure. I think you're going to see basically a flip of, who's in charge. You're going to say, oh my God, where have these sellers been? That's how the tape's going to look. It's going to look like ruthless selling. It'll be a lot of buying pressure for sure, because there'll be a lot of people trying to stay long, institutions included. But at the end of the day, this can only go on for so long. And we're staring down the barrel of a brutal inflationary period coming up with the Strait of Hormuz. I don't think people truly understand how bad things are about to get. You're already starting to see a lot of stress in private credit. You're seeing a lot of stress in just credit sectors in general. So yeah, people's credit card companies. You're seeing a huge spike in delinquencies, 30-day, 60-day. Your bond yields are climbing, so that's also not good. I think U.S. just did a latch ditch effort. I was pulling up this too because I called it last week, and then sure enough, I saw on the weekend Lindsey Graham, or just before the weekend, I think, he was basically parroting what I was saying. What I thought was going to happen was that Trump traveled to China with all the heavy hitters in tech and banking, and I think to just try and wine and dine whatever Xi and go, oh, look what I can do for you kind of thing. And I think his goal was essentially to quietly try and convince Xi to stop buying oil from Iran, because that is the only way that Iran gives up essentially, because they wouldn't be able to fund it. They're funding this entire war. 90% of their funding literally comes from selling oil to China. So I think Trump, was trying to be like, oh, scratch our backs, we'll scratch yours kind of thing with trades. But on the flip side, Lindsey Graham's trying to be like, oh, well, he said something here like, yeah, if you don't do that, if you don't figure that out with Iran and just start buying our oil or anyone else's but Iran, then we got tariffs coming your way. But that's also bad. We do not want tariffs back. That's not good. Not with China. That'll be very bad. No matter what barrel you look down, it's a lot of inflation. I just don't see a breakthrough out of this. If there is, it's got to be something regarding AI and something that's going to be an insane leap forward that just none of us are prepared for. In which case, I'd welcome it. If the market starts crashing, that's not good for everyone 401ks. But I'm not going to ignore the obvious what's going on right now. So yeah, from a macro standpoint, I believe we're topping. And on top of that, New York gets the top, just like they get the bottom. Sure, other kind of mid-cycle, whatever, lows, highs, might not be New York, but we're talking big time cycle highs. We're talking major cycle highs and lows. It's New York. They get the last laugh. They're not going to give the high or the low away to Asia or London. Not happening. So, that's why I view higher in that case. I'm looking to essentially just make new highs to continue that theory of just, that we're going to have huge selling up here and, get in with the sells as well. And if I can really see some strong proof of it from there, then I'll be in with options, large leaps on puts for the indexes later in the year. But we'll see. I'll need to see massive proof of that big trend reversal for me to hop in leaps for the other side. For now, I'll just trade it intraday. So I think that pretty much covers it. So you see breakout, and then we retest 29,100. That would have been a good spot to TP2. That's a huge pivot as well. So if we can reclaim 29,100 and then continue up from there, very good. I'd love to see that. I do like that. Yes, essentially just it rejected from. Well, I like it only because I'm out of the trade. If I continue running higher, I would have been sad. But so we rejected Monday mid, 3 standard deviation, weekly open, also true day open. Rejected there, rebalance somewhere in around here. And ideally, move higher. Maybe make, it'd be crazy to see it, but yeah, maybe make one more low. I don't know. I doubt it. I'd like to see that be the low and then for us to continue higher if the rest of the week's going to be a bye week. So yeah, NVIDIA earnings tomorrow, big day as always, but likely, usually just always remember with big earnings days like these, just the same as like CPI or FOMC or stuff, usually there's so much money on both ends jockeying for a large move that market makers actually tend to pin price and make price action extremely crappy. So tomorrow being Wednesday, be in earnings being after hours, just be careful. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. I don't know what's going to happen. I might even just take the day off. We'll see. Just wait for NVIDIA earnings and then go from there, see what the market wants to do. But yeah, that is all I think for today. I have nothing else to say. I think I went through everything tape-wise that I saw. And what you could have looked for to stay long. Again, did not falter. I was only long from this morning. Did not do all that back and forth that you hear other traders, do and all this chop, long. Oh, never mind shorts. Oh, longs look again. Oh, now I'm in shorts. Okay, maybe it's longs, what a nightmare. That's how you chop your account into oblivion. Just figure out where the buyers and sellers are, figure out that pivot, figure out who's in control, and then go with them. That's it. And then if that pivot fails, go the other way or be done for the day, either or. That's how you play it. It's the name to this game. All right, that's everything. Take care. Good luck this week. Bye.